evening and welcome. There's a little bit of sunlight in Memphis, Tennessee right there outside FedEx Forum. Welcome to the warm-up show for the next 30 minutes. We'll lead you in to the Grizzlies pregame show coming up next after this on the FanDuel Sports Network and on WMC TV in Memphis and all our Gray Media affiliates in Nashville and in Knoxville. Hi, I'm Jon Roser. Joining me is Jessica Benson. We get you ready for the Grizzlies and the Miami Heat and the raising of number 9, Tony Allen, into the rafters tonight. We could not be more excited. TA, one of the greatest Grizzlies of all time. We do have a game tonight, though. Grizzlies and the Miami Heat. Grizzlies coming in, Jessica, 42 and 25 after their loss last night to the Cleveland Cavaliers. 133-124 to Cleveland, and it really didn't feel like a game beginning to end. Just your overall thoughts on the Grizzlies' loss last night.
John Morant was awesome, and outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot of good things to take away. You can say Jaren Jackson Jr. coming back from his ankle sprain, that means something. Him being available tonight and playing on the second night of a back-to-back is certainly encouraging. And Ja going off for 44 points. It was his best game of the season, but unfortunately, it's wasted in a loss. And this has been a trend for this team against the teams in the upper echelon of both the Eastern and Western conferences. You can certainly argue that the Cleveland Cavaliers, both record-wise and vibes-wise, are the best team in the NBA this season. But whether it be the Cavs or the Thunder or the Rockets outside of one game, who the Rockets now with their win last night back into the top 3 in the Western Conference, the Nuggets, the Knicks, the Grizzlies are 2-11 against the top 3 teams in both conferences. They have that one win over the Celtics. That was back on December 7th. It's been a long time since December 7th, Roser.
It's been a really long time since December 7th. And after tonight, look, you don't want to be even on this 4-game homestand. You want to actually finish this off with a win to get to 2-2 because you head out for 5 in a row after this, all on the road, and you do have to play a team like the Los Angeles Clippers, who you haven't beaten this year. You have to play a team like the who else they play? Oh, Oklahoma City at the end of this, but Oklahoma City Thunder at the end of this, who the Grizzlies have not obviously beaten this year. And we just gotten word on some injury news right now. No John Morant tonight. No John Morant. Second night of a back-to-back. We know he's been having this shoulder issue over the past couple of weeks, or maybe it's been. Look at this. Shout out. We're all TA'd up tonight. We are all Tony Allen up tonight.
I matched the vinyl. That was my goals here.
You're modeling it well.
I know.
It matches the fit.
I am the vinyl.
It totally matches the fit. All right.
No, Ja. Taylor Jenkins talked about it pregame, and at the time said how he was a true game-time decision. He was banged up following last night's game. He played 35 minutes last night, and I had a text message from somebody after the game that said, I see the Grizzlies were down 20-plus most of this game, and yet Ja played 35 minutes. Can you explain it? Well, I can explain it by he was the only one doing anything. And I did think there were some great leadership components to Ja's performance last night, trying to get his teammates involved, but also taking it over the game in the way that we've been accustomed to seeing him reclaim over the last handful of games for the Grizzlies. So he's out tonight, which is a bummer opportunity for somebody to step up against a Miami Heat team that's really struggling. They've lost 6 straight coming into this game, and ever since losing Jimmy Butler first to suspensions and then ultimately to the trade
to the
deadline,
Golden State Warriors.
And to see how good he has been with the Warriors, it's a reminder, taking him out of this Heat organization has been a pretty significant loss.
No, it's been a massive loss for this Heat team. And another thing for the Heat is Tyler Herro's having a great season, but one of their other guys is Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo, how about this? The first time in his career, he is shooting under 50% from the floor. So I think something that goes for Miami that also goes for this Grizzlies team tonight, even without Ja, your stars have to be stars. That is something last night that the Grizzlies did not get against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You had John Morant be awesome, but Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr., Jaren coming off that injury, was not great in that one either. And I think for Miami, they need Bam Adebayo to play like an all-star, to play like the Olympian that he was over the summer, and just like how Tyler Herro has been playing this year if they want to snap their losing streak.
And you need Jaren Jackson Jr. to attack the intensity of the Bam Adebayo matchup like we've seen in matchups past between those two. You can't convince me otherwise that a part of Jaren returning last night against the Cavs, one is to try to get a full-strength crack at the #1 team in the NBA, but also the guy on the other side, Evan Mobley, is the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year, right there with Jaren. And the passion that Jaren attacks those direct matchups with is something we see regularly. Evan Mobley got the best of him last night. Now you have an immediate opportunity to come in and make a statement against Bam Adebayo. I'm back, and I still have something to give the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing for tonight, outside, I mean, obviously the Grizzlies need to get a win. That's the biggest thing for tonight. But we also have Tony Allen's jersey retirement. And some of the current Grizzlies, they spoke about TA and what he has meant to this organization and what it means to them to see Tony Allen's number 9 go up in the rafters. First, let's hear from Memphis Grizzlies all-star forward Jaren Jackson Jr.
He's everything here. Grandfather, grind, first team, whatever you want to say. Like, he is everything. So happy for him. He deserves all this, man. So, I mean, it should be all about him and everything that he's done. I'm sure, like, you know, Zebo and Mike and Mark and everybody who played with him knows how much, you know, he meant to them and how much of an impact he had on the city.
I feel like he's the heart and soul of it. It's what, you know, since he got here, it's what Memphis has been about pretty much, you know, that grit and grind. Just got to get back to it, man.
Yeah, you can hear some of the grit and grind. Josh saying that that's what they've got to get back to. Look, I've got a million Tony Allen stories and a million Tony Allen moments. You got here 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, so in that 1 year that you had of Tony Allen as a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, do you have a moment, just anything you took away from TA's time with the Grizzlies?
Well, I'll take away the connectivity to the city and really setting the standard early. I worked in local news at the time, and so you would get sent to every community event that a big athlete in the city would be at, and to see Tony Allen and other members of the Core Four just at everything, and to see how the city of Memphis responded anytime they had the opportunity to be around them. But it's funny, my biggest Tony Allen memories is the fact that I am married to a massive Golden State Warriors fan.
Oh, yeah, you are.
And watching that series, that was very early on in our relationship, and me learning early what it was going to be like to watch games with my future husband. And Tony Allen had him very hot. You see those clips of the fans at that game yelling at Tony? That was our situation from the couch. So then to go and just a little over a year later turn around and be here in the city of Memphis, it's been fun to watch our situation change in the meantime. But it makes me laugh every time.
I know your husband, so yeah, I know.
You know what it is.
I have one of my TA memories. So when I'm 40. When I turned 30 years old, back in 2014, when I turned 30 years old, my 30th birthday was at a place at Overton Square called Schweinhaus, which is now Petals of a Peony is the name of that restaurant.
Big fan of Petals of Peony.
Right.
But at the time,
Grizzlies had a game that night in Milwaukee, and they flew back. Tony wanted to come to my birthday party still, and it's like, Tony, first I was 3 sheets to the wind by that point, but no, Chris Vernon had to tell Tony, no, the party's over now. You can't. TA wanted to come to my 30th birthday. Also, there was a Sunday afternoon game where they lost to the Pelicans here. And Tony, always the first one to talk in the locker room. He always got dressed, showered first, dressed first, and talked first in the locker room. And we love those players who talk fast and let us get our audio. And Tony just turned to a reporter and sang "Stop" in the name of love to him.
As one does.
As one does.
It's his personality that transcends the play, and it's his personality that's one of the biggest reasons why his jersey's going up, and being the connector of that entire group. But I will say, the all-heart grit grind memory, you talk about loving players who talk, who provide good quotes, but that's a quote that it changed the city. And like, as somebody who wasn't here during that time, that's what I knew about Memphis, Tennessee before I ever moved here. Oh, Tony Allen, all-heart grit grind, the grit and grind Grizzlies. Like, and that goes back to that one game, and without it, who knows where everything is.
You never know where everything is. It changed this franchise. It changed this franchise in this city forever. Jessica, thank you very much. You've got radio pregame duties to do. Next up, we're going to sit down with Matt Infield. That's next on the warm-up show.
There's never been one deeper than this. What's it like been coaching in this?
The reason for the league being so good is the commitment to coaching, commitment to facilities, commitment to the NIL across the board. There is not anybody in our league that's not investing in all those things.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
We had big classic news from the Southern Heritage Classic last week when it was announced Arkansas Pine Bluff and Alcorn State will be the two classic participants.
Being a part of the classic is a big deal. It's the third year for UAPB and the first year for Alcorn. So I'm just glad we were able to get it done.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify. Would you mind standing in front so everybody could get a good glimpse of this? This can't be the look of the season. This is not the look of the season, Jessica. Like.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome, everybody. We are back live at FedEx Forum, and this is not Jessica Benson now. This is from WMC TV sports anchor Matt Infield. Matt, we've never, I don't think really ever, I think this was like our first conversation that we just had off the air.
We very briefly met before.
Found out we go to the exact same gym.
We do.
How about that?
We are not going to disclose where that is.
No.
We don't need stalkers coming to our gym.
No, we don't need to do. I've had people come up to me at the gym before, and they're like, "Are you Jon Roser?" I'm like, "I am."
I have
but
too.
It's always good to meet fans. It's always awesome.
Right. I don't know about you. I'm not a big gym talker, though. Like, I'm just kind of I'm just kind of in the zone. Yeah.
We're in the zone. No, we're absolutely in the zone. All right. You tell me, TV man, is this a segue? Speaking of in the zone, that's
Yes.
where John Morant was last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he was the only Grizzlies player, unfortunately.
Basically.
That was in the zone against them. John now 20 plus points in 10 straight games. That is good news for the Grizzlies because the loss was not good news for the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you make of why Ja has kind of been able to, I mean, do you want to say turn the season around? Because there have been times we've seen him out there and it's, it just kind of seems like going through the motions. But these last 10, there's been a different energy to Ja. What do you think the reason has been?
I think the turning point, was kind of that second half in Dallas, and after that first half where he played terribly, and we're not going to dive too deep into it, but after you said post-game he had a little help, so you can obviously infer a little bit there. But as far as the on-court stuff, I liked, especially last night, that mid-range, that in-between game, and the floater was automatic, because to me, I think that allows him to still be that devastating player getting to the rim without having to risk injury by flying in the air and trying to dunk on everyone's head and whatnot. So, and obviously, you want him to take some threes to keep the defense honest. I think we were at a point last week where it was too many threes, but him getting defenders on their heels and being able to hit them with the mid-range jumper, the turnaround, and the floater, I think has been a big key. So if we get this version of Ja the rest of the season, obviously he's not going to play tonight, but then you can dream about anything, really.
Yeah. Unfortunate he's not playing tonight, especially when you need to get a win because it's the last game of your homestand, and then you have coming up, you've got 5 straight on the road. Another thing the Grizzlies need to get going, he just returned last night, so you do give it a little bit of a pass. Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. been an All-NBA performer. I think one of the biggest things, you tell me, for the Grizzlies this year, I think one of the biggest things for them last night and why they weren't able to come in on top and why it just looked so lopsided against the Cats, their stars have to be stars, and it feels like we haven't had many games where we get that A+ or just a game out of Jaren, Ja, and Dez. Tonight, they're going to need it out of both Jaren and Dez.
I think you could probably live and win most nights with getting something close to an A performance out of 2 of them. And maybe the third has an okay game. You can afford it off night. But last night, Jaren's just kind of getting his sea legs back under him. the Cavaliers, with how many threes they shoot, it was an objectively bad night for Desmond Bane to have one of his worst shooting performances of the season. But I think we also need to get to, and they kind of referenced it, Desmond did in the locker room last night. I don't know what the number is. How many games have we had this season with all three of them on the floor together? Because that's another big thing going down the stretch in the last 16 games of the season. Going to be 15 after tonight because Ja's not playing. These guys need reps together because obviously if they want to do anything in the playoffs, you need them operating at peak efficiency. So yeah, we need to see that.
There's another matchup here, I think a rookie matchup that we should look for in tonight's game. I think the Zach Edey, Khalil Ware matchup is because these are two different players. Zach Edey, National Player of the Year, supposed to be, okay, we draft Zach Edey, you know what you're getting from a Zach Edey when you draft him. Khalil Ware was one of those that
wild card.
Indiana, you've seen the flashes. You're talking rival schools, Purdue, Indiana. You've seen the flashes. You see the talent there. Is it ever going to totally come together? It has come together for him at certain points this season. How do you see that tonight?
Different players, too. I mean, Khalil Ware is kind of a freaky athlete that, I mean, you get him in the open floor, get him rim running. I mean, he could do some really devastating stuff. But I do think it's a player that Zach Edey, in theory, if he gets that matchup, because I imagine Zach will see a lot of Bam Adebayo tonight as well. But Zach, I think, should be able to impose his will. What I want to see out of Zach, I don't know what you think about this. I thought that the around-the-rim scoring with the hook shots and whatnot would be pretty good right away. Does it feel like it's been maybe a little underwhelming with guys being able to, I mean, these are grown men in the NBA, push him off his spots a little bit?
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is it's not a traditional, hey, post me up.
Right.
Look, you know, there are a lot of times he'll post, repost, and they're not quite looking for him.
Yeah.
So I do think they got to do a better job. That's all around. It just takes, and it's a whole new offense. And you've seen them kind of evolve as it's gone on. They're running more pick and roll stuff now. No, I do think, yeah, you've got to obviously seek out and look for the big man a little bit. I think also it gets, as a guy who's former National Player of the Year, who's used to touching the ball all the time, every possession, it also gets him engaged.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get the ball and you get the guy engaged. Real quick, give me one thing for tonight, one matchup you're looking at for tonight that will say Grizzlies win or Grizzlies lose. On the spot. On the spot.
It's depending on how the matchups work. Jaren Jackson Jr. versus Bam Adebayo.
Yep.
I mean, two Defensive Player of the Year caliber guys. I think Jaren's definitely had the better season this year. Asked him in the locker room last night, how close are you 100%? He said, I'll know in a couple games. So hopefully he gets it back fully in gear tonight.
All right, Matt Enfield, WMCT. Oh, by the way, I talked to Doc Holliday last night. Said he's got a big interview with TA coming up tonight after the game.
Obviously, you can watch tonight's game and the jersey retirement ceremony for free on Action News 5. And yes, Doc has an exclusive with the Grindfather himself. So after the jersey retirement ceremony, keep it locked into Action News 5 at 10, which will probably start at like 10:20. We'll see.
Hey, man, I know how these jersey retirements can go.
Yes.
But they're worth it. They're so worth it. Matt, really appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. We'll be back with Lang Whitaker, the OG of this show, right after this on the warm-up show.
Number 9, man. I'm going to be ready and hype. Let's just be hype. My banner going to be up right next to my brothers, Zevo, Big Spain. It's a great feeling, man. Never imagined this. I didn't think this would ever be a thing, and it's one of the biggest days of my life. I'm looking forward to it.
Joining me now at FedEx Forum, it is Lang Whitaker, the OJ. We should be in different chairs, man.
I appreciate you welcoming me back to my show. Thanks for having me on my show.
Welcome to your own show, Lang. I will say, man, the hosting chair is way different.
It is, right?
Well, a little more pressure.
Yeah,
a little more pressure on the hosting chair. We brought you back to say, hey, you're here.
I'm here.
Like you're still around. Yeah.
I'm back. Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll be back here in the captain's seat.
In a week or two, yeah.
Yeah.
When the Grizzlies are back, because the Grizzlies are gone for like the next week and a half.
Yeah, they are. We got a 5-game road trip coming up after tonight. Grizzlies fell last night to the Cleveland Cavaliers, a 9-point game. It was way worse than a 9-point game. I think we could all kind of agree on that. Your overall thoughts on what happened last night?
You know, my big thought was that there's teams like the Cavs, No, I'm totally blanking. But to me,
you're a little rusty. You got to work the rust off.
There's teams like the Cavs. There's teams like the Celtics. There's other teams that have had good seasons this year. The Thunder. These teams that are like the teams that we're trying to get to that top level. They're playing at a level we can't get to right now. And for whatever reason, this Grizzlies team has not been able to cross that threshold. Yeah, they won that one game in Boston. Yeah, they've had the game in Cleveland where it was close and they lost in overtime. But for the most part, the Grizzlies, I think it's pretty clear we're not quite at that level.
Yeah.
And that was my takeaway last night, was watching them again. I was like, well, we're still not quite at that top level.
It really, especially, no Donovan Mitchell. They're missing their best player, and it's like, still just, we can't get there. I think we are, and maybe it's because, Matt just brought up, he said, well, how many games have they even had together? And I said, 30. You know what? You needed a Ja, Dez, and Jaren. Yeah. You needed them. You need that, all three of them to be good.
I think last night was game 31 with the three of them together.
Right, and we're almost 70 games into the season. So that's where we are. Tonight's game, obviously, against the Miami Heat. No John Morant tonight against the Miami Heat. Miami's come in. They've lost 6 in a row themselves. How about this? We are one of 5 teams Bam Adebayo has never hit a three-pointer against.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll do this. I'm going to give you these 5 right now, and then we're going to go to break.
All right, give me
the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, the Rockets, and the Magic. Those are the 5 teams Bam Adebayo has never hit a three
tonight, so hopefully Jaren can run him off the three-point line.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Well, he's only taken 2 against us.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk more about tonight's game and about the Grindfathers number 9 going to the rafters when we get back on the warm-up show.
We are in March, which is Women's History Month.
True.
And we were talking about how do we kick off the show, what can we talk about, and we were like, why don't we talk about women's shoes? The Sabrina one.
Okay. Can't go wrong.
Right?
That's a good shoe.
And the 2, you could argue, is even better, but the one's
you can't
fine.
have the 2 without the 1.
Yeah, in the month of February, the Sabrina 2 was the 2nd most worn shoe in the NBA in minutes played. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy, so you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for it. When I was in Portland, you had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about double. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple team.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th-round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
And welcome back in to the warm-up show. Jon Roser, Lang Whitaker. Welcome back to your own show again, Lang, from break.
I appreciate that.
It's good to,
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you back here with us. All right. There is a basketball game, but Tony Allen's number 9 goes into the Raptors. The only thing we have, I don't even remember, you were here for Zebo's, right?
Yep.
You were here for Zebo's, and we were here for Mark's.
Yep.
I don't remember who we played on Zebo's retirement game. I don't remember who we played.
I don't either.
Now, Mark's last year was the Philadelphia 76ers. I remember Trey Jemison, who played for us. He got Joel Embiid's jersey and had him sign and did a jersey swap with Joel Embiid after the game. But I do remember there was a massive massive delay, and it took a long time because there was like a 20-minute delay during the game. Tonight, let's hope that does not happen. The first 5,000 fans getting a TA vinyl. They have these. These are in the team store. These are in the team store. Check that out. Look at that. Yeah. These are in the team store tonight. Yeah. So you can get one of these that I look like I should be like in Milan Fashion Week right there.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. But it got me thinking, I asked Jessica, because she only got to see 1 year of TA here, but you've covered the NBA for a long time. She knew TA from Boston and on to Memphis. You covered it for a long time.
I got this shirt like back in the day when I was here covering the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I saw them selling it, and I was like, that's a great shirt. So I bought it back then. But
you got a memory?
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, you work with them every week.
I've got a ton. You can watch Tuesdays with Tony on the Chris Vernon Show, Grind City Media.
You're probably on that record, too, aren't you?
I'm sure I am, man. Sure I am. I'm in the documentary. Make a little brief appearance.
I like it. So when I was covering the NBA, and one night they asked us to do our best defenders, I turned in my list for NBA TV, and I guess they showed it on TV in the middle of the night. I don't know. It was like last minute. I turned it in. The next day I wake up and Tony Allen has DM'd me. He's like, hey, man, I thought we were cool. What's up? I was like, you've been hurt, my guy. I just want to see you get back and show us what you can do. He's like, all right, I got you. And then I came here for the playoffs, and I saw him in person. And I was like, hey, Tony, are we cool? And he's like, yeah, we're good.
You totally just thought that on the fly, like, oh my gosh, I got to DM Tony back. Like, what do I say? What do I say? You're like, oh, that's a good job right there.
The other good line was that when I was talking to him that time, I was like, hey, Tony, I noticed like when the timeout huddles happen, you just kind of walk around. You're not in the huddle. And he goes, yeah, I'm not really a huddle kind of guy.
So he would tell us that he'd go, I know the play's not for me. Like, I'm going to go, just tell me what side of the court we're running the play on, and I'll go stand in the other corner. And then I will cut, or I'll go stand in the dunker spot. I'm either going to go stand in the corner, or I'm going to go stand.
What does tonight mean for you? Just having known Tony as long as you have, and been worked with him, been around him.
It's incredible. It's I probably will get emotional because I love seeing Mark and Zebo go in the rafters, obviously, but like knowing Tony personally, I'll probably get a little emotional. I got a little teary-eyed during the documentary too. If you have not seen it, Tony Allen, the Grindfather, available on YouTube. Just watch it for free. But TA, man. Like, this is a guy who I told Jessica, my 30th birthday, TA was upset he couldn't come to it. Like, Tony wanted to come to my birthday party, and Tony wasn't able to come to my birthday party. So
it's surreal for everyone now because, like he's on your show every Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
But like, just all of us, we're at the office, and Tony Allen's just walking around. Sitting on your couch. You get in the bathroom next to him.
He may be playing video games in there.
Stuck on the elevator behind him. I had to let him in one day because he forgot his badge. Like, it's just so weird, like that we're all sort of like. I was thinking about it. Like, all the other guys have had their numbers retired. It's awesome. This is like a colleague getting his number retired. It's kind of cool.
It is. No, he couldn't come to my birthday party. He wanted to come to my birthday party. I remember him. He sang "Stop in the Name of Love" in the locker room one day after a game, after a loss to the Pelicans on a Sunday. That's why I remember it, because you never hear players sing "Stop in the Name of Love." But Tony did that, and then I think everybody knows the first team on the court. My favorite was when he would do almost like a shimmy and then a first down.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite.
I remember
when TA would do that. So no, there's a ton of memories of this guy. Some stuff from around the NBA real quick. The Dallas Mavericks are running out of players, and they may have to forfeit games.
You think this is karma?
For trading Luka?
Yeah. Is this the basketball gods?
Well, I mean, some of it, but here's what I want. So I decided to look this up.
Yep.
Because they may have to forfeit games. Yep. But I think they can sign a bunch of 10-day guys. There have never been a forfeit in the NBA. There's never been a forfeit. The closest thing, November 28th, 1952, a game between the Philadelphia Warriors and the Milwaukee Hawks. I don't even know if that's true. I'm going by Reddit.
I would say, I don't think the NBA is going to let there be a forfeit. They're going to figure out some way to let them play. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. They'll just sign a 10-day contract, guys. Yeah. Cavs won their 16th straight.
They're for real.
Where would you rank them on the title?
I still put them behind Boston. I think Boston's kind of like coasting right now, but I think Cavs are number 2 in the East to me.
All right, Lang, we really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
keeping
buddy.
this thing going the last week or two.
Absolutely.
I'm glad
Turn
to
it
be back.
over. Grizzlies Live. Rob Fisher, Pete Pranica, Brevin Knight, Chris Vernon. Right now on the FanDuel Sports Network. Peace.